Imagine you're navigating a dense forest where some paths are clearly marked, safe, and predictable, but then you encounter a different kind of path, one that's less visible, perhaps a little treacherous, or one that demands extra caution and preparation. This isn't just about the path ahead, it's about the responsibility you carry for those you're guiding or protecting along the way. Today, we're going to explore what it means to plan our path when working with what we call high-risk clients. It's a term that surfaces across various professional domains, from the intricate world of financial services to the deeply personal realm of human services. While the specific risks might differ greatly, the core challenge remains the same. How do we responsibly navigate situations that hold a higher potential for harm, be it financial, legal, or deeply personal? Understanding high-risk clients starts with recognizing that this label isn't static. Its meaning shifts depending on our context. In the financial and business world, for example, a high-risk client isn't inherently bad, but rather an individual or entity that could pose a greater potential for financial, legal, or reputational harm. Think of factors like financial instability, a history of poor security, or involvement in industries like gambling or real estate, which often carry higher regulatory scrutiny. It can even include politically exposed persons, or PEPs, simply due to their position and the potential for money laundering or fraud. It's like an economic immune system designed to protect the wider financial health. Now, cross over to the human services sector, areas like counseling, social work, and mental health. Here, the definition takes on a profoundly different, more immediate urgency. A high-risk client might be someone struggling with suicidal thoughts, engaging in self-injury, or exhibiting impulsive behaviors that threaten their life. It also includes individuals who might pose a risk to others through threats of violence. Beyond direct harm, it encompasses those in incredibly vulnerable circumstances due to severe trauma, complex mental health conditions, addiction, homelessness, or domestic violence. Here, high risk isn't about money. It's about well-being, safety, and sometimes life itself. The common thread, despite these differences, is the profound responsibility we carry. This topic isn't just trending, it's an evergreen necessity driven by the constantly evolving nature of challenges. In finance, criminals are always finding new ways around regulations, demanding sophisticated fraud detection. In human services, the rise of online counseling introduces new ethical layers around client identification and safety. And in both, the persistent ethical dilemmas, like balancing confidentiality with a duty to protect, ensure this topic remains central to professional discourse. So, how do we equip ourselves for these complex paths? Let's break down the practical methodologies. In the financial world, our toolkit is built around risk assessment and management. This means systematically evaluating and categorizing clients as low, medium, or high risk, and then implementing strategies to mitigate those potential harms. A crucial part of this is customer due diligence, or CDD, and enhanced due diligence, or EDD. CDD is your standard identity check, but for high-risk clients, we move to EDD, intensified scrutiny involving detailed background checks, rigorous verification of the source of funds, and continuous transaction monitoring. We also rely heavily on fraud detection and monitoring, employing automated tools to flag unusual or suspicious activities, like transaction structuring, often known as smurfing, where large sums are broken into smaller deposits to avoid detection. All of this operates under strict regulatory frameworks, like anti-money laundering, or AML, and Know Your Customer, or KYC regulations, often guided by international standards from bodies like the Financial Action Task Force, FATF.
In human services, our approach is equally structured, though our tools are more focused on relational and ethical principles. Our work is guided by robust ethical frameworks, principles like beneficence, non-maleficence, autonomy, and justice. They act like a compass, guiding our moral journey. We establish informed consent and clear boundaries right from the start, defining the therapeutic relationship, client rights, potential risks, and the critical limits of confidentiality. Risk assessment and safety planning are foundational here. We evaluate immediate harm risks and collaboratively develop strategies to mitigate them, understanding triggers and creating safety nets. Confidentiality is paramount, a sacred trust, but it does have limits, primarily when there's a duty to protect a client or others from serious harm. We also practice trauma-informed care, recognizing how past experiences profoundly impact vulnerability. Specific therapeutic approaches like Dialectical Behavior Therapy, or DBT, are vital, especially for clients struggling with life-threatening behaviors. And perhaps most importantly, Self-care and professional supervision are non-negotiable for practitioners, preventing burnout and ensuring we remain competent and clear-headed. But the path isn't always clear-cut, even with the best tools. There are significant controversies and debates that we constantly grapple with. In finance, a primary tension is balancing compliance with business objectives. The extensive due diligence required for high-risk clients is resource-intensive, which can slow down business efficiency and client onboarding. Then there's the sheer complexity of global regulations, where international businesses face a bewildering jigsaw puzzle of varying and overlapping legal frameworks. And finally, identifying intangible risks remains a challenge. How do you assess the legitimacy of businesses with complex ownership structures or rapidly evolving digital assets? In human services, some of these debates are deeply ethical and emotionally charged. The central dilemma is often confidentiality versus the duty to warn or protect. This is the terra-soft duty, where therapists must decide when to breach confidentiality to prevent serious harm, essentially walking a tightrope between privacy and public safety. Then there's therapist safety and well-being, a critical concern when working with potentially dangerous clients, which prompts debates about adequate training for managing threats and practitioner self-protection. We also confront the potential for iatrogenic harm, the unsettling possibility that therapy itself might inadvertently worsen a client's condition. This forces us to rigorously question and ensure therapist competence and identify potentially harmful practices. Maintaining strict professional boundaries and avoiding dual relationships is another constant focus. Ethical questions often arise around confronting exploitation, be it financial, emotional, or sexual, and the appropriateness of any contact outside the formal session. Documentation dilemmas also present a challenge. How much detail do we include for medical legal protection, balancing that against the risk of sensitive client information being improperly accessed? The rise of online counseling has introduced new difficulties too, particularly in accurately identifying clients for safeguarding, establishing jurisdictional limits, and maintaining ethical standards in a virtual environment. And finally, the persistent issue of stigma and public perception can unfairly label individuals with mental illness as dangerous, impacting how high-risk clients are viewed and their access to essential care.
As we look to the future, planning our path for working with high-risk clients will undoubtedly continue to demand adaptability, continuous learning, and robust frameworks. In the financial sector, we anticipate an ongoing investment in advanced technology. Think AI-driven risk assessment and sophisticated fraud detection, crucial for combating evolving financial crimes and navigating complex global regulations. For human services, the future will likely see an increased emphasis on specialized training, particularly for managing those complex ethical dilemmas surrounding confidentiality in our increasingly digitized world. Addressing the unique challenges of online counseling, enhancing therapist safety protocols, and actively combating societal stigma will remain paramount. Across both sectors, we will prioritize a proactive approach to risk mitigation, underscored by continuous professional development, a profound ethical foundation, and a deep commitment to the well-being of all involved. This journey, like any complex path, requires not just knowledge, but also courage, empathy, and unwavering professional integrity.